But first tonight, 2 people are dead following a shooting in a local neighborhood.
Investigators were called to Central Avenue and Arlington Street in New Bedford early this morning following reports of gunshots. Tonight we're hearing from one of the victims' family members and why residents say their neighborhood is no stranger to crime.
Eyewitness News reporter Eric Halperin joins us now live from New Bedford with the very latest. Eric?
Mike and Caroline, the DA's office hasn't yet released information about a suspect or a motive yet into this double homicide, but here in the 200 block of Central Avenue, Bedford, behind me, there are still tire marks in the grass and marks made by investigators on the ground where that car ended up. And in the middle of all of that is a vigil that's been set up by family and friends for these 2 men. Police on scene hours after the early morning shooting in New Bedford. Neighbors say around 1:30 they heard 3 to 4 shots ring out.
Scary. Very scary.
According to the district attorney's office, the 911 caller heard popping sounds before hearing a car crash. Chalk on the street and marks in the grass show where the car that was shot at ended up.
I was pretty shocked that it happened on my neighborhood.
Police say when they arrived on scene, the 27-year-old driver, Stephen Dodden, was already dead.
He was a good father. He was a good man. He was trying to get his life together.
Teresa Green is a relative of Dodden. She says the father of 4 grew up with her family because his mom died when he was young. On Monday, she visited the scene to plan a vigil.
I can't sit and say that he was the best person in the world, but he was our person.
Green says Dodden and the second victim were best friends. The DA's office says the second victim is a 28-year-old New Bedford man. He was rushed to the hospital early this morning where he died about an hour before noon. And this double homicide is still under investigation. According to the DA's office, this is the 7th homicide in New Bedford this year. Coming up new at 6, find out how that number compares to other years. Live in New Bedford, I'm Eric Halperin, Eyewitness News.
Investigation continues tonight into an overnight shooting in New Bedford that left 2 men dead.
And as those who knew the victims gather for a vigil, investigators say this act of violence points to an alarming trend in the city. Eyewitness News reporter Eric Halperin joins us now live from New Bedford with the new details. Eric?
Mike, family and friends have put together a candlelight vigil here in the 200 block of Central Ave where these 2 men were shot last night. They tell me that these 2 were best friends and that they spent a lot of time together. Tire marks and chalk markings from police show where the victim's car ended up. According to the district attorney's office, 27-year-old Stephen Dodden was the driver who police found dead when they arrived. Teresa Green is one of his relatives. She says Dodden moved from Boston to New Bedford after his mom died when he was young.
Being out here, I feel like he lost his way at some point, and it led to this.
The passenger was a 28-year-old New Bedford man who was rushed to the hospital and died about an hour before noon today. The call came in around 1:30 this morning. Neighbors are surprised it happened right on their street.
Definitely a surprise. Very much concerned, too,
This is the 7th homicide in New Bedford this year. According to the DA's office, that's the most in any of the past 5 years. In both 2013 and 2014, there were 6. In 2015, there were 5. Last year, there were 3. And again, 7 this year.
I don't even wish them harm to come to them. I hope they get caught by the police, not by anybody doing no retaliation.
And this is still under investigation. The DA's office has not yet released any information about a possible motive or a suspect, but as soon as we get more information, we'll bring that to you. Live in New Bedford, I'm Eric Halperin, Eyewitness News.